This was a historic moment to see him walking out with a bandage on his ear, and then also to describe to America and the world days later what that moment was like.
Well, I mean, look, having Lee Greenwood's his song, him coming out to it, there was not really a dry eye in the place. We were all excited. The energy was off the charts, so much optimism in that room. And when he came out, he was so personable and sharing details of what had happened just a few days prior, that the rest of the world was watching, but sharing those details as if you're sitting in a living room talking to him was really impactful. The comments that he made about unifying the country, representing everybody, not just half of the nation. Those are words that need to be spoken. People need to hear that. They need to hear that from the president. They need to hear that from our nominee. And I was so glad, so happy that he did that. Everybody that was standing around was just so thrilled. And we're looking at each other like, we are making history. This is history in the making right now. This is an epic speech. And look, he talked about a lot of things that night, not just about his experience on Saturday nearly being killed and what that meant to his faith and how that really was an act of God that saved his life. You saw him say, "I shouldn't be here." And how did the crowd react? Yes, you should. Yes, you should. But he also talked a lot about policy, a lot of issues, dealing with the border, dealing with the economy, dealing with what's going on with foreign adversaries, dealing with concrete issues like tips, people who get tips not having to pay additional taxes. I mean, he really spoke, I think, to working families, to families in general, and to anybody right now who is feeling the inflictions of a 20% increase in inflation.
Yeah, and also, how about having the head of the Teamsters speak at a Republican convention? That was extraordinary.
The speaker lineup was great. I mean, you had Nikki Haley, you had Ron DeSantis, you had so many speakers that were there, and they were all on the same page. You are facing a unified party that recognizes that the enemy is not within, that we have enemies far and near. When we see what's happened to our economy, when we see what's happened at our border, 10, 15 million people that we've allowed into our country illegally, over 100,000 deaths from fentanyl, the rapes and the murders that are happening unnecessarily by people who should not be in this country. Those are the things that strike America. Those are the things that he was talking about, that he has solutions for, that he's already proven. He said he is a known commodity with successes under his belt. And I think he was very clear about what those successes were and how that reads into a very successful time for next 4 years as our 47th president.
And by his side is now Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate. Vance, for his part, he didn't disappoint. He had a very powerful speech. Here's a little bit of it.
President Trump represents America's last best hope to restore what, if lost, may never be found again. A country where a working-class boy born far from the halls of power can stand on this stage as the next vice president of the United States of America.
So, Congresswoman, in your view, will this pick by the former president give him an edge in the heartland, the Rust Belt states? Also, you talked about border, too. Think about the issues of fentanyl and drug overdoses and so many issues. I thought one of the most powerful moments when J.D. Vance looked at his mother and said she has now been clean and sober for 10 years, that he understands what's happening with drug addiction and so many of the issues in this country.
He is such a sincere, authentic individual who has come from poverty, who has had so many challenges in his life that he has overcome time and time again. He speaks to the public. And you want to look at this ticket. You look at Trump at the top. You look at J.D. Vance at the top as VP pick compared to Biden and Harris. It is laughable. And the fact that we cannot wait to get to November. I think you have seen a unified party. You have seen a very strong party selection with our nominees. And compared to what's going on with Biden, I mean, it was embarrassing this last week. Yeah. He is at the end of his rope. Allow him to retire. I think at this point in time, it's more than elder abuse. It's abuse, period. And it needs to be put to bed. Now, whether or not he's the nominee, whether or not Biden is the Democratic nominee, we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of rumors that are going on about who it will be. But the fact is that regardless of who the Democrats have at the top of the ticket, their policies aren't changing.